Hi, my name's Dan Lyons and my company's been helping landlords manage and rent their properties out for the last 40 years. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at the current state of the HMO market in Brighton. The Brighton HMO market's been pretty buoyant since about 2013. In 2013, everybody and everyone were chopping in their pensions and buying a student house because the return was far better than anything you were going to get on a pension. At that time, we had a plethora of students. The foreign market was massive. We had a lot of Chinese students coming in and the EU students as well. Everything seems to be grinding to a halt, and this year has by far been the hardest, toughest year we've had as far as letting houses go. Across the board, there are an awful lot of empty houses. A lot of this, I think, is due to overdevelopment. A lot of people have got into the market. You've had a lot of professional developers come in. I mean, specifically in the Brighton market, you've got all the professional halls that have been built, all the studios. They're quite high end, but it has altered where we are as far as the market stands today. So in 2013, you could have purchased a 4-bedroom house and changed it into a 6-bedroom house, and the general rule was that you would then refinance that and move on to the next one. So it was quite easy to build up a portfolio of, say, 4 to 5 student houses. They would all end up being 6 bedrooms. So at the moment, we've got a mass amount of 6-bedroom student houses, hardly any 4s, hardly any 3s, but we have an awful lot of 6s. And between 2013 to 2019, the quality has changed. It's evolved into an industry of its own. So in 2013, it was really easy to make a student house. You had your set template, you had white walls, you had hygiene board in the bathrooms. They're all little things that we tweaked from 2013 to 2015, and there is an awful lot of houses that are built exactly the same. Since 2015, over 2016 and 2017, there were some people who entered the market who had a lot of fresh ideas. And what happened was that the general quality of the student housing was increasing. The innovation of the landlords, they would start introducing different color schemes, different ways of configuring the bedrooms, so that you basically ended up with 2 or 3 different levels of student housing. Now, there was literally nothing wrong with the 2013 batch. However, in 2013, they were grade A. Now in 2019, they are grade B, if not grade C, because there's an awful lot of traffic going through these houses, 5, 6 and 7-bedroom houses. You've got an awful lot of people living there with boyfriends and girlfriends coming around to visit, parents sticking out. You know, there's an awful lot of people coming in and out. So the carpets get worn, the paint gets worn, the woodwork gets worn, the utilities get worn down. So you need to be in a position where you're constantly refurbing. Now, I know some landlords who had big portfolios in that period, and they're now looking at their grade C HMOs, and they're looking at them thinking, well, in order to stay at the top of this market, I've either got to spend 20 grand on each house to bring them up to these new levels, or they're going to exit the market. So on top of the general quality being quite disparate from the early HMOs to the new HMOs, you've also got the change in what people expect. So you can look at a piece of software that maybe 10 years ago, I as a company might have paid 20 grand for. Now you can get it for £10 a month and it's in the cloud. Stuff that people used to pay for, they now expect for free. So when you've got an oversupply of housing, you need to make sure that when the students are going to come and have a look at your house, they walk in and they go, this is the house I want to be in. So it's got to be visually appealing, and it's got to have lots of little snacky things that they can get their teeth into. So the consumers, which in our case are the students, 5 years ago, they would have expected to pay for things that now you're really going to have to start thinking about giving them for free. Things like washing machines, dishwashers, tumble dryers, Wi-Fi, TVs, things that you've got to do, like be a little bit more constructive and thoughtful about how your bedrooms are going to be organised. For instance, in 2013, we used to just get your standard bed, desk, wardrobe, chair, and we put them in the room, and you'd have to try and figure out how in the room that was going to look best. Now you can go in a room, get a carpenter, get someone to build your furniture bespoke. You can have wooden slatted bed frames, therefore you've got space underneath it. You've got to try and maximise every piece of space that's available in each of these rooms, because they're all different, especially if you're chopping a 4-bedroom into a 6-bed. You know, you're going to have some weird shaped rooms. You might have split a bay window, and all of these are valuable pieces of space that if you think about it and invest a little bit more time and money at the beginning, you'll have a better, more robust and more resilient product that will hopefully last you a bit longer. So on top of the the changing quality of HMOs and other people entering the market and making it more competitive. You have to look at other outside factors that may be contributing to a lack of numbers. So Brexit, I know people blaming Brexit for a lot of things, but if you think about it, if you're an EU or foreign student and you're signing up or got the opportunity to sign up for a 3-year course, you're not going to be entirely sure what your status is as a citizen of the UK during this period. So you might be holding back. I know there's a company from China who we work with, and they would on average rent 30 to 40 houses off us. They even phoned us up this week to say their numbers are down. So you know, it's not just our little market here. That this is quite widespread. We run a portfolio up in Guildford as well. We're having the same problems up there. Another trend that we've seen this year has been how late the students have come to the table as far as getting their properties go. Quite often you would let's say 80% of our portfolio between January and April, and then you would see a slow trickle to get the last ones done and a rush at clearing. This year, clearing has just been just as hard as the rest of the year. Part of this might be the way that the students are now consuming their media. So for instance, these are the first generation of people who've had smartphones since they were 6 years old. You know, they're used to getting Just Eat, their food get delivered straight away. You know, they date on Tinder. You know, everything is Netflix, it's streaming, it's binging. So there's less of a trend for them to get things done early. They feel that they can just come down and it's all going to be there and it's going to get done for them quite quickly. So you have to make sure that your properties are A, looking good, so that when they do come down late, they don't want to go and see anything else, and B, that your agent is making sure that he's putting your properties where they are. We're finding a trend away from portals. We haven't seen an awful lot of traffic come through Rightmove or Zoopla this year. An awful lot of it's been through Facebook, Instagram and YouTube. And this is where the students are. This is where they hang out. This is where they're consuming all their information. So you have to make sure that whatever you're doing, your properties are looking good and they're being shown on these platforms. So the question is, as a landlord, how can you improve today the quality of your HMO? So I've got 3 tips, and they're quite simple ones. Tip number 1, try and utilize your space. For years we've been using divan beds because they're cheap, but to be fair, they're cheap for a reason. They take up a whole block of space. If you have a bed frame underneath, then they can put suitcases, they can put shoes. It doesn't have to take up the valuable floor space within each bedroom. Tip number 2, give stuff away for free. You know, for a long time we haven't even included washing machines. Now I've seen a trend towards landlords giving away washing machines, tumble dryers, dishwashers, smart TVs. I've got some landlords who even include a Netflix subscription. So they're all things which are quite low cost, but they're gonna make your property stand out against your competitors. Tip number 3, upgrade your connectivity. I mean, the students nowadays, they would class internet above water and oxygen, really, if you give them a chance. So you can have little plug sockets which have got USB sockets in there. You can hardwire your Wi-Fi, anything just to make sure that they're bang on it and it's not going to be hindering them in any way whatsoever. So there are other strategies that you can use if your HMO hasn't been let to students, and I've done my research and there's quite a few out there that haven't been let. So you need to try and find another way of monetizing your HMOs. One of those ways, there's charities that will rent them off you. You get rent to rent from professional let companies, or you can go into the co-living industry, which is where the guys who have been students but they can't really afford to move into a 1-bedroom flat yet, they will still need to be co-living as exactly the same as students, but it will be a slightly higher quality. You have to include more things. So there's quite a few ways that you can monetize your HMO if it hasn't been let to students this year. So if you want to give us a call, we can sit down and strategize about a way of making sure that your HMO is going to continue to make you some money. If you're interested in the co-living side of things, then subscribe to this channel because we're going to be doing a video on that a little bit later. I'm Dan Lyons. Like and subscribe to this channel, and we'll see you on the next video.